We often search for meaning, don't we, in the big moments, the celebrations.
Yeah, the milestones. That's where we expect it.
But what if that same deep connection, that sense of purpose, is actually right there,
Uh,
woven into just your ordinary day?
That's a really interesting thought. It kind of shifts how we might think about, well, worship.
Right. Like maybe it's not just something for specific times or places.
Yeah.
Maybe it's bigger, more
Tot-
encompassing.
Much more. Yeah.
And that really brings us to this idea that our whole lives, just as they are, can be offered up, an expression of devotion.
It reminds me of that passage in Romans chapter 12, verse 1.
Ah, yes. Talking about presenting our bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God.
And it's key there, isn't it? Bodies doesn't just mean our physical selves.
No, it feels much broader.
Exactly. It's our whole being, really. Everything we are, everything we do in our daily lives.
So that living sacrifice idea, it's about how we live, moment by moment.
Precisely.
So, okay, in this deep dive, let's explore that. How can those, you know, seemingly mundane parts of your day, the routines, the work, the errands, how can they actually become, well, meaningful expressions of your heart?
Yeah, let's dig into that. This idea, maybe we call it worship where you are, where it challenges some common views.
How so?
Well, often when you say worship, people immediately picture, a church building, specific songs,
Right, the
rituals.
Sunday morning thing or particular service, confined.
Exactly, confined to certain places or times. But this perspective, it invites us to see it differently.
As something continuous.
Yeah, like a continuous state, an orientation of the heart that's, well, it's always active in every moment. Less about scheduled events, more about an ongoing state of being.
Okay, so it's moving beyond just like
Mhm.
checking a box or fulfilling an obligation.
Right. It's about the why behind what we do, the intention. When gratitude or just a desire to live out what you believe in, when that becomes the motivation.
Then ordinary things change.
They really can. Suddenly, everyday tasks, even chores, they aren't just things to get through. They become opportunities for devotion. They get transformed.
Wow, that's powerful. It makes you think, doesn't it? How many chances for connection we might just be missing.
Because we have this limited view, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe we're looking in the wrong places or only in the expected places.
And that ties into finding the sacred in the ordinary. We tend to associate encountering God or something profound with, big dramatic events or special holy places.
Mountaintop experiences, maybe?
Exactly. But maybe that connection, that presence isn't restricted like that.
Maybe it's much closer, like right here.
Absolutely. Think about it. That presence, it isn't waiting for the perfect moment or a designated spot. It can be with you right now at your desk while you're working.
Sitting in traffic.
Or sitting in traffic, yeah. Or pushing a cart down the aisle at the grocery store. Seriously.
It's like an invitation then, isn't it?
Yeah.
To discover these moments of connection in the most, well, unexpected corners of our day.
Yes, exactly. There's this story about a hospital janitor. This was back in, I think, 2025 in Argentina.
Okay.
So he's doing his regular job, cleaning rooms, keeping things tidy, unnecessary but often overlooked job.
Definitely.
But he started doing something extra. He began writing out little scripture verses, messages of hope on sticky notes,
Oh, wow.
and he just leave them quietly in the patient rooms he cleaned, not making a big show of it.
Just a simple, quiet act within his daily work.
Exactly. And the intention behind it, that's what's key. It wasn't for applause. It was, for him, an act of worship while he worked. He actually said that later. I just wanted to worship God while I worked.
And what was the effect? Did people notice?
Oh, definitely. Nurses noticed, patients found them, they started collecting them, putting them up. It apparently brought a real sense of comfort and upliftment in a difficult environment.
That's incredible. From such a small gesture.
It really shows, doesn't it? It's not about the size of the action. It's the heart behind it. He wasn't leading a service. He was just, mopping floors and leaving notes. But it was worship.
Finding a way to connect his faith to his everyday tasks.
Mm-hmm. And there's a similar sort of principle in another story, this one about a young mom in Canada.
Right.
Just doing the everyday things a parent does, pushing her baby in a stroller around the neighborhood, a very common routine activity.
Something you see all the time.
But for her, these walks became something more. She started singing worship songs softly as she walked.
Just to herself or for the baby?
Probably both, a quiet, personal thing. But it wasn't entirely private in its effect.
Oh.
Her neighbor heard her sometimes, and this neighbor apparently hadn't been to church in years, felt quite disconnected.
Ah, I see where this might be going.
Yeah. Hearing those songs day after day, this simple, genuine expression, it touched the neighbor. It opened a door. And eventually they started talking, and the neighbor ended up going to church with the young mom, all stemming from that quiet singing on her daily walk.
Wow. Again, it's the ordinary becoming extraordinary through intention.
Exactly. These stories, they're different, but they point to the same core idea, I think. That genuine worship, true devotion, it really springs from the heart, from an inner orientation.
It's not just about the outward actions, the rituals we perform.
No. Those can be important, of course, but the root is deeper. It's the inner attitude, the intention we bring to all of life, how we approach every moment.
So worship isn't confined by, like, church walls or specific traditions?
Not at all. Its power comes from a heart that's yielded, that's engaged, right in the middle of whatever life throws at you, moment by moment.
Okay. This is really resonating. So the practical question then is, how do we start doing this? How can we, bring this into our own lives?
That's the key question, isn't it, for all of us? And I think it starts with really looking at those simple, routine things we do every day.
The commute, making breakfast, answering emails,
Mm,
that kind of stuff.
that exact stuff. What if we didn't just rush through them on autopilot? What if we approached those moments with a bit more intention?
Like consciously choosing to bring gratitude into it, or seeing it as serving others, maybe?
Precisely. Infusing those ordinary tasks with extraordinary intention. It's about shifting your perspective, recognizing that even the small things, the mundane things, can become genuine expressions of your heart when you do them with awareness, with openness.
So it's not necessarily about adding more tasks to our busy lives.
No, definitely not. Who needs more tasks?
Right. It's more about seeing the life we already have through a different lens.
Exactly. Seeing the potential for meaning, for connection, that's already there, hidden in plain sight within the everyday.
So wrapping this up then, the main takeaway is worship is fundamentally about the heart.
Yes. Expressed through the whole of our lives, not just isolated moments or places.
It's an ongoing
A
offering.
living sacrifice, lived out daily.
So maybe something for you, the listener, to think about as you go about your day.
Mm-hmm.
Just pick one thing, one seemingly small, insignificant part of your routine. Maybe it's washing the dishes, maybe it's folding laundry, maybe it's that first cup of coffee.
Yeah, something simple.
And just ask yourself, how could I bring a bit more intention to this moment? How could I infuse it with gratitude, or see it as an act of service, or simply be present to God right here, right now?
Turning the ordinary into something sacred.
Exactly. How might you turn that ordinary moment into something truly meaningful? It's definitely a thought worth carrying with you.